Hello, welcome to my presentation, Assessment 3 for EDU4005. Who are my students and what year level they're in Year 4? My students are Alicia, Samar, Cynthia, Kyle, Yusuf, Lawrence, Drew, and Gizel. What are their learning needs? Students with diverse learning needs have different requirements. So my students are all kind of condition and disabilities they have. So dyslexia, chronic illnesses, ASD level 1, ADHD, EAL students, hearing impairment students, students with exclusive functioning difficulties, and gifted students. According to research, group in mathematics achievement for students who are identified as a risk for mathematical difficulties or disabilities are due to the low performance in early grades, as well as slow growth across several areas of mathematics. What do I know about my students as a teacher? I need to gather information about my students' individual needs, strengths, and challenges through assessment, observation, and communication with parents, caregivers, and specialists. I know that each student is unique and their learning needs may vary even with the same disability or condition. What am I teaching? What is my construct? For Year 4 students, the construct focuses on comparing objects using familiar metric units of area and volume. What does learning look like in the construct? Learning involves a combination of hands-on activities, real-life examples, visual aids, and differentiation to cater to diverse students' needs. Here's my link to the curriculum. Show what your students are ready to learn. So what are they ready to learn? From the evidence of collecting data using the Gatman chart, I can see how students are progressing. Students are ready to learn about comparing objects using familiar metric units of area and volume. Here is my Gatman chart. And here's the back of my Gatman chart. What are their goals? So what my students' goals are. After completing their tasks, students should have a strong understanding of mathematical formulas and their accurate application in problem solving. So that's for group 1. Group 2, after completing their tasks, students should be able to accurately measure and estimate areas, calculate the area of various shapes, such as parallelograms, squares, and rectangles, and make educated estimates of areas of curved shapes. For group 3, after completing their tasks, students should be able to accurately draw rectangles and understand their probabilities. For group 4, after completing their task, students should have a strong understanding of shapes. Here, my targeted teaching for group 1 is understanding and identifying shapes. Learning intention is develop a strong understanding of shapes, identify triangles on grid paper and recognize different shapes, confidently identify parallelograms. It's a whole class approach. Utilize visual aids like shapes, charts, and grid paper for students with EAL and processing speed weaknesses. Encourage students with ADHD and high ability learners through interactive activities like shapes, identification, games, and sorting tasks. For group 2, problem solving and shape compression. Learning intention is applying formulas in mathematical problem solving, comparing shapes to identify similarity and differences. Again, it's a whole group, whole class approach. engage ADHD students and ASD level 1 students with hands-on activities and shape puzzles, support EAL students, high ability learners with visual aids and chat. For group 3, measure and estimate area, learning intention, measure and estimate area accurately, calculate the area of parallelograms, squares, and rectangles. Whole class teaching strategy, engage students with ASD level 1, ADHD, dyslexia, and high ability learners with hands-on activities and real-life examples, support EAL students and exclusive functioning difficulties, students with visual aids, like grid paper and rulers. For group 4, draw and design shapes. Learning intention is draw rectangles accurately, use grid paper effectively for shape creation and design. Again, it's a whole class approach. Support students with EAL, hearing implement, and exclusive functioning difficulties with step-by-step instructions and visual demonstration. It is my lessons. And according to research, in grade 3 through to 4, students are to develop an understanding of area measurement with regard to converting the two-dimension region of an object with squares with side length 1 unit or with same size row or column of individual squares with grips or overlapping and counting the lecture area units. I lost my reading. How are you going to know how your learners are progressing? Monitoring students' progress in geometry and measurement concepts involving a multi-phased approach. This includes observation, engagement, providing feedback, adapting instructions, and tracking participation, documenting, and a lot more. What formative assessment strategy will I use for group 1? Focus on understanding and identifying shapes. Formative assessment may include observing students again and engaging in shape identification games. For group 2, problem solving and shape compression. Learning intention could be assessed through formative quizzes on applying mathematical formulas, peer assessment, for shape compression task and feedback on group discussion. For group 3, measuring and estimating area, formative assessment might include hands-on activities for accurate area measurement, feedback on calculating parallelogram area, and self-assessment. Group 4, drawing and designing shape. Objective formative assessment strategies could involve observing students again accurately in drawing rectangles, providing feedback on the use of grid paper. According to research, in other words, the concept to deliver quality instruction depends not only on the individual teacher's intellectual, I cannot read today, and personal resources, but also on his or her instruction with significant groups of students and materials. So, summative strategies for group 1, focusing on understanding and identifying shapes. Summative assessment may include a written assessment where students identify shapes, triangles, and parallelogram accurately, as well as particular assessments. For group 2, problem solving and shape compression, learning intention could be assessed through a comprehensive problem solving assessment. Group 3, measuring and estimating area, summative assessment, could include profile assessment where students showcase their accurately drawn rectangles and creativity. Here are my references, and thank you, and I'm sorry about my phone ringing.